Greetings everyone and welcome back to a new blog post video. Cryptic made it 2 whole weeks this time before announcing a new ship, and it will be going directly into the Infinity Lockbox. We'll talk about that in a second, but this is the second time I tried to record this. I cannot make this up, and the last time we had 2 airplanes, 3 sirens, dogs, and crows. There was so much background noise that I finally just scrapped the whole thing because I realized it was too ridiculous. But let's move on with this attempt. April 15th, it's getting added to the Infinity Lockbox, and it is the Jovian Heavy Raider. And that's a little bit unusual. It's not unusual for them to add ships directly to the Infinity box, but normally when they do that, those ships are updated Tier 6 versions of old Tier 5 Lockbox ships, so it doesn't make any sense to re-release the old Lockboxes, since the current Tier 5 version is already in the Infinity box. So they just put the new Tier 6 version directly into the Infinity box. That's why they do it. Sticking a brand new ship in the Infinity box is quite a bit rarer. I'm trying to remember another time they've done it. I feel like they did it one other time at least, but maybe they haven't, so that is a bit weird. Normally new ships get their own lockbox, and I think people were expecting a lockbox because they didn't include the Janeway weapons to be upgraded. So the new CDR weapons on the promo Janeway were not able to be upgraded, but they told us they would be, coming out in the future. So I think everyone was anticipating a new lockbox. So this is a bit weird. Maybe they have another ship in mind for that lockbox, and we are going to get another lockbox soon. I don't know. Okay, so this is yet again another Intel primary, Miracle Worker secondary ship, and literally 2 weeks, because the last ship they announced was the legendary D7, and that was also an Intel primary, Miracle Worker secondary. So this is the second time in 2 weeks they've given us this same combination, and yeah, it's a little bit baffling to me, honestly. It's not even as good, even though this has a lot of universal seats because it's a Raider. The Miracle Worker seat is on a lieutenant seat, not a lieutenant commander. So that's already going to limit you in a lot of ways. And then what are you going to do with the 2 lieutenant commander seats? If you make them both engineering, so you're a little bit more comfortable in engineering seating, then you're going to be really short on tactical because you can't fit it all on the commander seat and have override subsystem safeties if that's the direction you want to go. So you're going to have to use one of the lieutenant commanders as a tactical seat. Now you're starting to get into trouble with trying to figure out how to do your engineering seating. So somehow they've given us a 4-3-3-2-1 ship with all universal seats except for the commander, and it's somehow almost impossible to do the bridge officer seating. I honestly don't know how they did it. It's definitely an accomplishment of some kind. All right, so power distribution, 15 to weapons, 5 to aux. That's okay. The aux power is fine, but 15 for weapons is good. It has gather intelligence, which is useless. If we take a look at this little video they have here, pretty cool. I do like this. I haven't seen anything like this since they did the Baul ship, and it's just really cool looking. So let you look at it here for a second. I'm looking forward to playing with that on Tribble and getting a look at it and doing my own demo record with this. So it is a pretty cool effect that the ship has. It looks like that's what happens when you use the console. Harvester mode, that's the name of the console, and there's a lot of text here, but to boil it down, basically what it does is it can hit multiple targets. It will do kinetic damage and debuff them, and then based on how many targets you were able to hit, and it does a power drain as well. So it has some kind of a resource system, so the more targets you're able to hit, the more of a buff it's going to give you. So it gives you a buff based on how many things you hit with the console, or at least that's how it reads to me. And then I was a little bit excited when I got to the passives until I read the part in parentheses. The console also provides passive bonus to flight speed and turn rate only while not in combat. So even though those are really great buffs, not being able to use them in combat completely misses the point. So I feel like this console is going to be really fun to use because it has that transformer effect where it whips around. And the effect itself might be good. These kinds of things are pretty hit or miss. When you look at, say, the console on the Tholian Tarantula, that thing has the capability of hitting really hard. And since this does kinetic damage, it's possible that the console will actually do really good damage. We don't know until we try it, but when you combine that with the buffs, which it doesn't really kind of tell you what they are, but when you combine all that together, the console may actually be pretty good. We'll just have to wait and see. So the console is a little bit exciting. It comes with a new experimental weapon, which reduces your threat. That's the main gimmick about this weapon. And threat reduction is good, but I think that the Soliton Wave Impaler is just so powerful that I don't really see anyone wanting to give that up in exchange for threat reduction when there are other ways to reduce your threat. And then we got a trait, the Precision Scrapper. And this one is also shaping up to be pretty interesting. I do have one big question about it, though. Basically, when this trait is slotted, dealing damage to an enemy with surgical strikes, beam overload, or tractor beam, and I kind of imagine tractor beam will be the way you get it done on ships that aren't beam overload ships. It will cause a buff to be created for each teammate within 10 kilometers of the damaged foe. The buff will then, so it's sort of like a targetable torpedo, I'm guessing. But it's not exactly clear. So the buff doesn't just get automatically applied to you. But if you're within 10 kilometers and so you have a teammate and you're within 10 kilometers of the enemy the teammate is targeting, right? So let's say your teammate targets the tactical cube on ISE with a tractor beam. If you're within 10 kilometers of that tactical cube, then a motorcycle guy is trying to ruin my video. God. All right, anyway, so then a buff cloud or something, I don't know what it's going to look like, is going to appear, and it's going to chase you to try and give you a buff. And the buffs, it says the buffs will quickly follow their intended target, then apply a beneficial effect chosen at random, which will last up to 30 seconds. What are these buffs? I don't know. There is a trait in the game already, the one that comes from the Cardassian Escort. I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called, but it gives you random buffs when you do a map transfer, I think. And I remember it's like CDR and damage and stuff. There's different ones, so maybe it's those. It's possible those are the same buffs. I don't actually know. But yeah, so is it possible? Wow. Motorcycles again. Anyway, is it possible to outrun these buffs? Because one thing that might be kind of bad about it is, like, let's say you get to a transformer and someone uses it and the buff cloud appears and it starts chasing you and you're already out there. You know, you're already on your way out of there. You're hitting deuterium surplus and evasive maneuvers, and you know, maybe it's possible to actually outrun this thing so that it doesn't catch up to you. That would be pretty funny. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this thing actually works. Pretty interesting. Anyway, it seems like it might be pretty good for a support build because you are giving all of your teammates a buff. Usually these team buff-based traits aren't very strong, but they are very flavorful, and I actually do like them. For example, there's one on the Jem'Hadar Vanguard Dreadnought cruiser, not the carrier, the cruiser, that gives out team abilities, science team, engineering team, tactical team to allies, which includes, you know, hangar pets and stuff like that, even deployables. And so that's a pretty fun one. I like the flavor of those abilities, so I think the console and the trait do seem pretty cool to me, even if they aren't very good. But I'm not going to get the ship, I tell you that right now. I'm going to get it on Tribble, I'm going to play with it, I'm going to do a review, but I'm not going to buy this on holodeck. There's no way, especially after all the money I've spent already this year. We've had the Janeway, the 11th anniversary bundle, the Mud's Wormhole bundle, we had the legendary D7, we had the Tamir, which admittedly was free, and now we're getting this. They are just spamming us with ships, and something has to give. The ship itself is not exciting to me in any way. The Maquis Raider, which I got from the Wormhole bundle, is just as good, if not better. because it can have an extra console slot to make up for the Intel seating. And yeah, and the D7 is already an Intel Miracle Worker ship, and I just bought that as well. So definitely not going to get this ship, but I am looking forward to playing with it. And in the future, I've decided that whenever I do a review of a Lockbox, Lobi, or promo ship, I'm going to include a boilerplate gambling warning in those videos. I haven't made it yet, but I am going to do that. So when we get around to this review, which will probably be the next ship review I do, there is going to be that warning, and I'm going to start putting them in all of those types of reviews from now on, because I just think that it's important to keep the drumbeat going, to speak out against the gambling in this game. Not trying to tell people what to do with their money, but shouldn't ignore it either. So hopefully the background noise wasn't too obnoxious this time. Thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know what you think of the new ship. Are you excited about it? I'm guessing most of you probably aren't. Are you planning on buying it? I'm guessing most of you probably aren't. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye.